Remember the Berenstain bears? What if I told you it was never spelled that way? What if Darth Vader never said, "Luke, I am your father"? And what if these aren't just simple mistakes, but shared distortions of memory experienced by millions of people at the exact same time? This phenomenon is known as the Mandela Effect. And once you understand it, you may never trust your memories the same way again. Welcome to LernXpress, where we decode the mind, perception, and the hidden mechanics of reality itself. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most unsettling psychological mysteries of the modern age. Are collective false memories evidence of glitches in reality, or proof that the human brain is far less reliable than we think? Throughout this episode, we'll break down iconic Mandela Effect examples, uncover the cognitive mechanisms that create these shared illusions, and deliver a grounded psychological explanation backed by neuroscience. By the end, you'll be questioning not just what you remember, but how memory itself is constructed. Let's begin with the definition. The Mandela Effect occurs when large groups of people remember the same detail, event, or fact incorrectly, with extreme confidence. These aren't vague recollections. They're vivid, emotional, and often identical across cultures and generations. The phenomenon gets its name from Nelson Mandela. For years, countless people around the world were convinced they remembered Mandela dying in prison during the 1980s. They recalled televised funerals, global protests, and even a speech delivered by his grieving widow. But none of that happened. In reality, Nelson Mandela was released from prison, went on to become president of South Africa, and died peacefully in 2013. This contradiction between memory and documented reality shocked many. And in 2009, paranormal researcher Fiona Broome coined the term Mandela Effect after discovering thousands of people shared the same false memory. What followed was explosive. People began comparing memories and realizing how many details they swore were real simply weren't. Logos, movie quotes, historical facts, entire fragments of cultural memory appeared to be wrong. So what's really happening here? Are these errors proof of parallel universes colliding? Is reality shifting without us noticing? Or is your brain quietly rewriting history every time you remember it? In the next section, we'll examine the most famous Mandela Effect examples and why they feel so disturbingly real. Stay with me, because this is where perception begins to unravel. As the term spread, the Mandela Effect exploded across the internet. Forums filled with people comparing memories. YouTube channels dissected frame-by-frame evidence. Entire communities formed around the idea that something was deeply off. In 2019, the phenomenon even inspired a psychological thriller titled The Mandela Effect, pushing the question further into mainstream culture. But let's slow down. Is this really evidence of parallel universes colliding? Or are we witnessing something far more unsettling? The limits of human memory itself? To answer that, we need to examine the examples that made the Mandela Effect famous. Let's start with the most iconic case of all, the Berenstain bears. If you grew up reading these books, you might feel certain they were spelled Berenstein with an E. You can probably picture it clearly in your mind right now. But when you check the original book covers, the truth is unavoidable. It has always been spelled Berenstain with an A. The name comes directly from the authors, Stan and John Berenstein. No alternate editions, no spelling changes, no corrections, just one consistent spelling, forever. So why do millions remember it wrong? Because your brain prefers familiar patterns. The suffix stein appears far more often in names: Einstein, Frankenstein, Goldstein. When the brain encounters something similar but unfamiliar, it quietly autocorrects the memory to fit expectations. The result feels real, confident, and complete, despite being wrong. Now let's move to a line so famous, it feels untouchable. Darth Vader's reveal in The Empire Strikes Back. Ask almost anyone to quote the moment, and they'll say it instantly. Luke, I am your father. Except he never says that. The actual line is, no, I am your father. No, Luke, not once. So where did the extra word come from? Context. When people quote the line outside the movie, they add Luke to clarify who Vader is speaking to. Over time, parodies, commercials, late-night sketches, and pop culture references reinforced the altered version. Eventually, the brain stopped distinguishing between the original scene and the repeated imitation. The imitation became the memory. And here's the key detail. The confidence remains. Even after seeing the real clip, many people still feel like the original memory was correct. That emotional certainty is what makes the Mandela Effect so disturbing. Because if your brain can rewrite something this iconic, what else has it rewritten? And that leads us to the real question. Are these glitches in reality? Or is memory itself a story your brain keeps editing without asking permission? In the next section, we'll uncover the cognitive mechanisms behind these shared false memories and why the Mandela Effect spreads so easily across millions of minds at once. Stay with me. This is where psychology gets uncomfortable. Let's talk about one that feels undeniable, the Monopoly Man. Picture him in your mind right now. Top hat, mustache, cane, and a monocle, except there isn't one, despite how vividly people remember it. Rich Uncle Pennybags has never worn a monocle in any official Monopoly artwork. Not on the box, not in the cards, not in vintage editions. So where did it come from? Your brain merged similar symbols. Mr. Peanut wears a monocle. The penguin from Batman wears a monocle. When the mind retrieves a familiar wealthy mascot image, it blends overlapping traits into a single composite memory. The result feels seamless and completely wrong. This is a classic visual Mandela effect where the brain reconstructs images instead of replaying them. Memory doesn't work like a video file. It works like a collage, rebuilt every time you recall it. Now let's move to one of the most persistent cases ever recorded: Fruit of the Loom. For decades, millions of people have sworn that the logo included a cornucopia, a horn-shaped basket overflowing with fruit. Not a vague idea, a clear, detailed object. But when you check the company's history, the evidence is clear. There has never been a cornucopia, not in early versions, not in alternate branding, not once. The logo has always been simple: apples, grapes, leaves, nothing more. So why do so many people remember the basket? One explanation lies in semantic association. The phrase "fruit of the loom" feels old-fashioned, agricultural, almost biblical. Combine that with childhood exposure, autumn imagery, and Thanksgiving symbolism, and the brain fills in the missing piece. Over time, the imagined object becomes remembered as real. So real, in fact, that fake recreations now circulate online, reinforcing the false memory even further. And this is where the Mandela Effect becomes truly unsettling. These aren't random mistakes. They're structured, shared reconstructions. Which raises the bigger question. If memory is this easy to edit, and if millions of brains can reach the same wrong conclusion, then how much of what you remember is actually real? Next, we'll break down the neuroscience behind these collective false memories and explain why your brain is wired to fall for them. Don't go anywhere. And the list doesn't stop there. Remember Mirror, Mirror on the Wall from Snow White? It was never that. The line is Magic Mirror on the Wall. Looney Tunes? Not tunes. Pikachu's tail? No black tip, ever. Curious George? He's a monkey without a tail. And that movie you swear existed, Shazam, starring Sinbad as a genie, it never happened. What you're thinking of is Kazam, released in 1996, starring Shaquille O'Neal. Sinbad himself has publicly confirmed he never played a genie, despite thousands of people confidently remembering it. These aren't isolated mistakes. They're shared, structured, and experienced by millions of people independently. So what's really going on here? Are we slipping between parallel timelines? Are realities colliding at the quantum level? Some conspiracy theories claim exactly that, pointing to multiverse physics, CERN's particle accelerator, or even time travelers subtly altering history. It's a compelling narrative, and it feels like it explains the certainty people experience. But neuroscience offers a far more unsettling explanation. The truth is, it's not reality glitching, it's your memory. Enter the psychology of false memories. Your brain does not store memories like video recordings. It stores fragments, emotions, meanings, patterns. Every time you remember something, your brain reconstructs it from those pieces. And reconstruction is messy. This process is heavily influenced by schemas, mental frameworks that help you organize the world. Schemas are efficient, but they're also biased. When information fits a familiar pattern, your brain quietly fills in the gaps. Stein feels more common than Stain. A rich cartoon mascot should have a monocle. A genie movie in the 90s sounds plausible. So the brain swaps in what fits, without asking permission. And here's the most disturbing part. Each time you recall the memory, you reinforce the error. The false version becomes stronger, more detailed, more emotionally convincing, until it feels impossible to doubt. In the next section, we'll explore why these false memories spread socially and how the internet supercharges the Mandela Effect in ways the human brain was never designed to handle. Stay with me. This is where memory truly breaks down. Another key mechanism behind the Mandela Effect is confabulation. Confabulation occurs when the brain unconsciously fills in missing details, then treats those fabrications as absolute truth. You're not lying. You're not guessing. You genuinely believe the memory is real, and the data backs this up. A large study published in Psychological Science found that over 70% of adults make detectable errors during memory recall tasks. Not under pressure, not when distracted, just during normal remembering. Then there's priming, the subtle influence of exposure. Hearing a misquoted line, seeing an altered image, reading a confident comment online. Each exposure nudges your memory slightly. So when you repeatedly hear people say, "Luke, I am your father," your brain accepts it as confirmation rather than contradiction. Familiarity becomes truth. Add suggestibility, and the effect multiplies. Decades of research show that leading questions and group discussions can warp memories dramatically. The classic Deese-Roediger-McDermott paradigm demonstrates this perfectly. When people hear lists of related words, they confidently recall words that were never spoken at all. The brain fills in what should be there. Emotion intensifies the distortion. Stories tied to powerful imagery, like Nelson Mandela's imprisonment, form strong emotional memory traces, called engrams. When emotion is high, confidence increases, even if accuracy doesn't. And then comes the accelerant, the internet. Massive studies show that misinformation spreads significantly faster than verified truth on social platforms. Online communities repeat, remix, and reinforce false memories until they feel undeniable. By the time someone questions them, the memory has already hardened. A University of Chicago study on visual Mandela effects confirmed this pattern. people consistently misremembered the same logos, shapes, and symbols, even when shown the correct versions repeatedly. Not because they were careless, because the brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do: optimize meaning over accuracy. So, while alternate timelines and reality glitches make for compelling science fiction, they're unfalsifiable. Psychology, on the other hand, offers something more unsettling and more powerful. Your memories are malleable. Pioneering research by psychologists like Elizabeth Loftus has shown just how easily memory can be reshaped by suggestion, repetition, and belief. The Mandela Effect isn't evidence that reality is breaking. It's evidence that memory is creative. And that realization should change how you think, not just about the past, but about certainty itself. So, the next time you feel absolutely sure something used to be different, pause, question it, verify it. Because sometimes the glitch isn't in reality, it's in the story your brain is telling you. Now I want to hear from you. Which Mandela Effect completely broke your brain? Drop it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the mechanics of memory and perception, like the video, subscribe, and ring the bell for more mind-expanding content. Thanks for watching LernXpress. And remember, reality feels stable until you look too closely.